Hi, I'm Barry Sahajian. This is Essential Bass Theory 6 Major Scale Arpeggios for Bass Patterns and Cycles. I believe triads are the fundamental building blocks of all bass lines, and this lesson is very important. And not only that, it covers 3 different areas, the cycles as well, learning this in all keys, all the way up the neck, every arpeggio and every major scale. You can build chords on every degree of this major scale. The 1st, the 4th, and the 5th are major chords. The 2nd, the 3rd, and the 6th are minor chords. On the 7th degree, there's a diminished chord. Now let me show you the shapes I use for each of these chords. First of all, you have the major triad, which looks like this. And then, of course, if you go up to the 4th and the 5th, on the minor chords, using a shape like this. Okay, that's a 2nd. 3rd degree, the same thing. 6th degree, the same thing. On the 7th degree, we have a diminished chord. It's way up here, but you see the shape in the illustration. It looks like this. Now I'd like to go through it slowly with you and show you the fingering. I think the fingering is important since we're going up the neck, and I found a very easy way to play it, but you are welcome to figure out your own way that's more comfortable if you wish. Now that we've played through all the triads from every degree of a C major scale, let's take this a step further. We'll go through all the scales, starting with the flat scales and then the sharp scales. Now, before I go any further, I'd like to make a confession. As I go through these cycles and playing these exercises, I don't always think of every note I'm playing. Sometimes I don't even think of the root. I just kind of think of the shape. And it'll still work for you. It is better if you're aware of exactly the notes you're playing, but it's not always possible. But if you learn the shapes and you relate to it in other ways, it's still very useful. So the shape is, and I'll go back to the key of C for illustration. So you got whole step, C to D, whole step, D to E, half step, E to F, whole step, F to G, whole step, G to A, whole step, A to B, and then you're back to the octave. So I think in terms, now if you memorize that shape, which you kind of have to do this exercise, you think major on the 1st, and then on the minor, 2nd, on the 3rd, minor, then major, and then major, and then minor, and then diminished. So in other words, if I'm going down and I play the diminished, I know there's a minor chord coming up, and I know there's 2 majors coming up. Then I go down a half step, play 2 more minors, whole step down to the root. So you kind of think in those terms, and that gets you through these cycles, because it's a lot coming at you, going through them, but you get used to it, and it does a tremendous amount of advantage for you to practice this way. I'd like to also mention that this exercise could be extended to 7th chords, 9th chords. You could even play pentatonic scales going up the neck. Now, I guess it goes without saying you can't play all the scales in in all the modes or all the triads in a major scale in one position. You might be able to play a couple, but in order to go from octave to octave, you really have to go up the neck, on a bass anyway. So let's start with the F scale. B flat scale. E flat scale. A flat scale. I guess I'll play it up here in a higher register. Let's go for a D flat. G flat. Okay, the last flat key, which is C flat, all flats. I'll play it from this position. Okay, let's go into the sharp keys. That would be, we would start with a G. I think I will use this position and go up high. D is next. A is next. E. is next. F sharp, C sharp. That's all the keys. You notice when I get to 4 and 5 sharps, such as B, F sharp, C sharp, I slow down a little bit because these keys are not as familiar. And it's okay to do that. And when you're in the key of C, you can probably race through it, but when you get to C sharp, maybe you got to proceed with caution, because how many songs do you play in the key of C sharp? But even so, you're still getting a benefit out of that, because when you're in the key of A, there's a C sharp minor, and everything relates as you go through these, and it strengthens your musical awareness mentally, and as well as learning everything all over the neck. And another benefit you get from this is when you start to play these, if you play them regularly every day, you took like 2 or 3 minutes or 5 minutes, after a while you can just blow through them, and you just know all of these patterns all over the neck. And if you start to make a solo, it starts to just go with ease.